Mini has a brand new Countryman coming. It's bigger and wider than before, but most importantly, this one is available all electric. Meet the brand new Mini Countryman SE. We're going to take it for a spin and see if it's worth your time. The 2025 Mini Countryman SE All-4 relies on two electric motors to deliver 313 horsepower and 363 pound-feet of torque to all four wheels. Powering those motors is a 66.5 kilowatt-hour battery pack that Mini says will be good for somewhere around 245 miles on a charge, but we'll have to wait for the formal EPA testing before we know for sure. Oh, and cost? The starting price on the electric Mini Countryman SE is $45,200. So how do all those numbers translate to actual driving impressions here on the road? Quite well, I gotta say. I just got out of the gasoline-powered Countryman, now I'm in the electric version, of course, and you can definitely feel the difference. This car is significantly heavier than the gasoline-powered version, so when we're going over a speed bump or any other road perfection, of which there are many on the roads here in Portugal, you can definitely feel the car takes a little bit longer to settle. The suspension can't quite cope as well as it can on the lighter car, but that's pretty minor details, honestly. When you're out there having fun, even on a twisty road, this car is still really engaging to drive and really fun. And, of course, because it's electric, it's also got really great throttle response, and we've got all-wheel drive, which right now that the roads are dry and the sun is out, maybe not so important, but earlier it was actually bucketing down with rain, the wind was going sideways, and it was definitely nice to have all-wheel drive at that point. Now, it's a nice quiet drive as I'm cruising through and going slowly right now, but now that the speed limit's going up, I want to go a little bit quicker, and I'm going to toggle us over into go-kart mode, which is the quickest, most responsive. I've got full power and a really sharp throttle response. As I put my foot down here, listen to this. It's got kind of a fun, obviously very synthetic noise that's completely generated. That's nothing to do with actually what's going on mechanically in the car. It's all being generated, but it's actually, I think, really engaging. Let me do that again. It's got kind of a weird sort of flutter when you lift off the throttle, which I think is trying to ape like a blow-off valve in a turbocharger, but to me it sounds like maybe my warp core is failing or something like that. I think it's actually one of the most engaging and fun fake synthetic engine noises that I've ever heard, but of course you can go to a different mode and have complete silence if you want. In fact, there's a lot of settings in here and a really interesting way to change them in this circular display that I'm going to pull over so I can give you a closer look. All right, I've pulled over somewhere safe and quiet so that I can give you a more detailed walkthrough of this amazing and, as far as I know, unique circular OLED display that's found here on the dashboard of the Mini Countryman. This is about a 9.5-inch diameter OLED display, so relatively small if you compare it numerically to something like a Tesla Model 3 with a 15-inch display. But that's, of course, 15 inches on the diagonal versus this, which is about 9.5 inches on the diameter. So it's a larger looking display. It fills the dash really nicely, and ultimately it's just a really interesting look and feel that Mini has really leaned into the circular experience to bring that into the entire user interface. And they've done a great job of creating a look and feel that is completely unique, and they've gone way overboard, much more detailed than they need to. For example, if we go into the climate control screen here, they've got this great Union Jack built in here, and as I go through different modes, you can see the typography changes to match, and it's just a really nice, well thought out interface that's really engaging and visually compelling. Even as I change temperatures, you can see the color temperature of the screen changes to match that. A lot of detail and thought went into this. The problem is the performance doesn't quite keep up. As I toggle from one mode to the next, for example, I'll go up to go-kart mode here. It takes a little while to load into the next one. It plays this little animation, which you can turn off, and that speeds things up a little bit. But even so, it's just sluggish as I change through modes and as I cycle through from one screen to the next. You can see they're taking a long time to load and pull things up in the background. And that to me is just frustrating. I mean, Minis are supposed to be quick and engaging and fun, and the UI just can't quite keep up with that. I hope that that can be fixed with software updates, but we'll have to wait and see on that front. Now, if you don't like using this, if you want to bring your own navigation or your own media, you can plug in, of course, and use Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which unfortunately will be still square, but that will give you that experience. And there's also voice control if you don't want to use the touchscreen at all. Hey, Mini, tell me a joke.
Why is a Mini faster than a bicycle? Because bicycles are too tired.
Now, the Countryman doesn't have a traditional gauge cluster. A lot of that information about speed and whatnot is included around the edges of that circular OLED display. But the Mini does continue to offer the funky pop-up heads-up display, which isn't really high enough to be a proper heads-up display, but it is certainly closer to your line of sight than the usual gauge cluster that's hiding down behind the steering wheel on most cars. Now beyond this beautiful circular display, I actually really like everything that's going on in this interior. The dashboard is covered with this weave design that's inspired by athletic sneakers and that kind of thing. It's a little bit harsh to the touch, but I think it looks fantastic. My only question is, how is it going to live to years of abuse? This, of course, is a car meant to be hauling kids and dogs and groceries and everything else. And so it's going to see a lot of things over the years, and I hope that it can hold up. But for now, at least, it looks fantastic. And overall, the design here is really comfortable, practical, open area. I'm very comfortable here in the driver's seat, but I also had plenty of room in the back seat too. And of course, there's a big old hatchback there for dogs and camping equipment and kayaks and whatever other trouble you want to get into. This car should be a really practical solution for you as well. I really enjoyed my time in this car. I think it could be a really great solution for a lot of families. I'm really looking forward to seeing it coming to market here later this year. So the new Mini may be bigger and softer than before, but ultimately it's still a lot of fun to drive, and having an all-electric option is a great thing to have. That's what we think, but let us know down in comments. Would you like the new Mini Countryman SE fully electric, or would you stick to the gasoline-powered version? Let us know, like and subscribe, and check out Engadget.com for a whole lot more.